Marvin Redpost 4, Alone in His Teacher's House, by Louis Sachar. 7. Liver. Have you tried liver? Asked Dr. Charles. Yes, my mom made it once. But I didn't like it, said Marvin. I mean, for Waldo, said the doctor. Oh. It was Monday afternoon. Waldo still hadn't eaten, so Marvin called the vet on the telephone. Mrs. North had left the number. Dr. Charles said that Waldo probably just missed Mrs. North. He told Marvin what to do. Go to the store and buy a 1/4 pound of liver, boil it in water for 10 minutes, then cut it up in little pieces, and serve it to him on a real plate. Dr. Charles added, instead of his doggy bowl. That made Marvin smile. Okay, he said. Thank you. Waldo's a funny dog, said Dr. Charles. He's not sick, just lovesick. Let me know what happens. Marvin hung up the phone. Feeling a little bit better, he sat on the floor next to Waldo and petted him. We'll both be glad when Mrs. North gets back, he said. He'd had a rough day at school. Miss Hillwaydo treats me like I'm a criminal, he told the lovesick dog. Waldo pushed his head under Marvin's hand. Marvin petted him. Nick and Stuart hate me, he said. They say I think I'm better than everyone. I don't think I'm better than everyone. I just have a job to do. Waldo licked Marvin across the face with his big tongue. Marvin petted him some more, then stood up. He checked to make sure the key was in his pocket. I'll be back after dinner, he promised, with liver. He tried his best to sound enthusiastic. His mother said she'd take him to the store after dinner to buy the liver, and then drive him to Mrs. North's house. Can I come? Asked Jacob. I've never seen the inside of a real teacher's house. Sure, said Marvin, glad to impress his older brother. Me too, said Lindsay. I want to meet Waldo. Marvin's father went along too. I don't want to be a party pooper, he said. Marvin smiled. After all his troubles, it felt good to have his family with him. He paid for the liver out of his own money. A 1/4 pound only cost 37 cents, less than a candy bar. Inside Mrs. North's house, Marvin found a pot and filled it with water. He turned on the stove. His mother offered to cook the liver for him, but Marvin said, No, it's part of my job. He dropped the slimy meat into the boiling water. Jacob was walking around the house. Cool, he said, as he went from one room to another. Lindsay hugged and petted and rolled around on the floor with Waldo. I love you, Waldo, she said. The liver was stinking up the kitchen. Marvin let it boil for 10 minutes like Dr. Charles said. Then he plucked it out of the water with a fork and cut it up into bite-sized pieces. He really didn't think it would work. He had tasted liver, and he had tasted dog food. He liked dog food better. He put the liver on a regular plate and set it on the floor. His family gathered around to watch. Look, Waldo, liver, said Marvin. Waldo didn't move. Please, Waldo, begged Lindsay. She pushed the plate to him. Waldo sniffed at it. Then he stood up, stuck his head over the plate, and ate a piece of liver. Marvin and his family cheered. Waldo ate another piece, then another. He didn't stop until the plate was empty. Then he waddled over to his dog food bowl and ate all his dog food too. All he needed was an appetizer, said Marvin's mother. Marvin was so happy he almost cried. He washed and dried the pot, knife, fork, and plate. Lindsay had to use the potty. Of course, thought Marvin. She couldn't go anywhere without needing to go to the bathroom. He smiled. He knew the kids in his class would be glad. 8. Where's Waldo? Tuesday morning, Marvin woke up with a start. He couldn't remember if he had locked Mrs. North's front door. He remembered his family getting ready to leave. Then Lindsay had to go to the bathroom. And Jacob was in a hurry because there was a TV show he wanted to watch. And Lindsay had to hug Waldo 3 more times. He got dressed quickly and rushed through breakfast. He just couldn't remember. As he rode his bike to Mrs. North's, he felt a knot in the pit of his stomach. He dropped his bike in front of her house and ran to her front door. He tried the knob. It was locked. But that didn't mean anything, he realized. The robbers could have locked it after they left. He unlocked the door and stepped inside. Everything seemed to be in order, except Waldo wasn't there to greet him. "Waldo," called Marvin. "Oh, Waldo." The TV was still there, the VCR. There were no open drawers. Nothing seemed to be missing except... "Waldo!" Marvin called again. He looked around the kitchen and the living room, then entered Mrs. North's bedroom. Something smelled funny. Waldo had thrown up on the floor. Marvin just missed stepping in it. He could see pieces of liver and dog food. It looked like Waldo had thrown up everything he had eaten. "Waldo," Marvin called. He looked under the bed. Waldo lay there. "There you are, you old whisker-faced dog." Waldo didn't move. "Waldo," he shouted. "Wake up, Waldo, wake up, you stupid dog." But already he knew that Waldo would never wake up. 9. Do something. He didn't know what to do. Waldo was dead. He threw up the liver and died. Do something. Do something. The words kept repeating inside his head. Waldo is dead. Do something. Should he get him out from under the bed? How would he even do that? Pull him by the tail? And even if he could get him out from under the bed, then what? He called home. It rang 11 times. His parents had already left for work. Do something. I never should have given him liver, he said. He couldn't just leave Waldo there. Could he? Just go to school as if nothing happened? He walked around the house. He looked at himself in the bathroom mirror and noticed for the first time that he was crying. He wiped his eyes on his shirt sleeve. He walked quickly back to the phone. He called the vet. There was a recording. The office was closed until 10, but it gave another number to call in case of an emergency. Marvin didn't know if it was an emergency. Waldo was already dead. He dialed the emergency number anyway. Dr. Charles had said, "Let me know what happens." A woman answered the phone. "Hello." "Hello," said Marvin. "This is Marvin Redpost. I'm taking care of Mrs. North's dog, Waldo. I was. Dr. Charles said to let him know what happened. Well, he died, and I don't know what to do. I can't take him to a cemetery because..." "I'll get my husband," said the woman. Dr. Charles came on the line. "Waldo is under the bed," Marvin told him, trying not to cry. "He won't move. He threw up all his liver and dog food. I'm just here by myself." "I'll be right over," said Dr. Charles. "Try to calm down. What's the address?" Marvin thought a moment. "I don't know," he said. "I know how to get here, but I don't know the address." "Okay, then just tell me how to get there." Marvin tried to think. "I don't know how to tell it," he said. He got an idea. "Wait, I'll go outside and check the street sign." He set down the phone and started out the door. Then he got a better idea. He had been bringing in Mrs. North's mail. He took an envelope back to the phone and read the address to Dr. Charles. "You're doing just fine," said Dr. Charles. "I'll be there in 15 minutes. He's in there." "Under the bed," said Marvin, pointing to Mrs. North's bedroom. He waited in another room until Dr. Charles was finished. He didn't look until after Waldo's body was inside Dr. Charles's van. "Did the liver kill him?" Marvin asked. "Maybe I didn't cook it right." Charles smiled. "It wasn't because of anything you did, Marvin. Waldo was just a very old dog," he said. His time had come. Marvin watched the van drive away. He cleaned up Waldo's throw-up and flushed it down the toilet. As Dr. Charles suggested, he poured a little vinegar over the spot to get rid of the smell. He checked to make sure he still had the key, then locked the door behind him. He rode his bike to school. 10. "Ma." "Nice of you to show up, Marvin," said Miss Hillway as Marvin entered the classroom. He was 20 minutes late. "Sorry," he said. "Just waltz on in," said Miss Hillway's "We'll wait." He quickly took a seat. Miss Hillway handed out a worksheet. Marvin started to write his name at the top. He wrote, "Ma." That was as far as he got. He tried not to think about Waldo, the way he always wanted to be petted, his white whiskers, his whining that sounded like singing. He took a deep breath. And what about Mrs. North? What was she going to do when she came home? Tomorrow night. Marvin imagined her opening her front door. She'd be surprised because Waldo wasn't there to greet her. In his mind, Marvin saw her going through the house with her suitcase still in her hand. She was calling, "Waldo, Waldo, Waldo?" And then he saw her picking up the telephone. He imagined himself alone in his room as the phone downstairs was ringing. Miss Hillway came around and collected the worksheets. "Ma," she said, looking at Marvin's paper. May I have more time?" he asked. "I want Mrs. North to see this," said Miss Hillway, snapping up his paper. At recess, Marvin walked off by himself. Judy Jasper and Casey Happleton came running up to him. "Hey, Marvin," said Judy out of breath. "What are you eating under there?" "What?" he said. "What are you eating under there?" asked Casey. He didn't know what they were talking about. "Under where?" he asked. The two girls roared with laughter. "You're eating your underwear," exclaimed Judy. "You said you were eating your underwear," Casey explained. "Leave me alone," said Marvin, walking away. "It's just a joke," said Casey. "What a crab." "Oh, there's Justin," said Judy. "Hey, Justin, what are you eating under there?" "Underwear?" asked Justin. After school, it felt strange not to have to go to Mrs. North's house. Marvin felt empty. "Are you okay?" Patsy Gatsby asked him. He shrugged. "Oh, he thinks he's better than everyone," said Stuart, coming up behind them. Nick was with Stuart. "Shut up," said Marvin. "I don't have to," said Nick. Marvin glared at Nick. "Waldo's dead," he said. "Are you happy now?" Nick's mouth dropped open. "What happened?" asked Patsy. Marvin told them how Waldo wouldn't eat, and about the liver, and then what he found this morning. "Promise you won't tell anyone, okay?" he asked. They promised. "Oh, man," said Nick. "You are the unluckiest kid in the whole world." 11. Waiting. The worst part was waiting, just waiting. "Will you take me to see Waldo?" Lindsay asked during dinner. He hadn't told his family yet. "I wove Waldo," said Lindsay. "I don't think it's a good idea," said Marvin. "Why not?" Lindsay demanded. "It just isn't," said Marvin. "Can I go with Marvin to see Waldo?" Lindsay asked her mother. "It's not up to me," said Mrs. Redpost. "It's up to Marvin." She looked at Marvin. "And I know you always consider your sister's feelings, don't you, Marvin?" "Please, Marvin," said Lindsay. "I'll let you come to my birthday party." Marvin sighed. "Sorry," he said. He tried to think of a nice way to put it. "Waldo's not there anymore." "Where'd he go?" asked Lindsay. "He's in heaven, with the angels." "Oh, no," said Mrs. Redpost, dropping her fork. "Oh, you mean he's dead," said Lindsay. She crunched into her pickle. She didn't cry until an hour and a half later, when she went to bed, right after she said a prayer for Waldo in heaven. Marvin's parents tried to make him feel better. "It wasn't your fault," said his mother. "You know that—" "Do you want me to talk to Mrs. North for you?" asked his father. "No," said Marvin. When he got to school Wednesday morning, he was mobbed by the kids in his class. "Did you kill Mrs. North's dog?" asked Justin. "He forgot to feed him," said Melanie. "The poor dog starved to death." "I heard he choked to death," said Kenny. "On a piece of liver." Marvin looked around. He knew Stuart and Patsy could keep a secret. It must have been Nick. "What do you think Mrs. North is going to do?" asked Casey. "She'll flunk you for sure," said Justin. "If you're lucky," said Warren. "I'd move to another state if I were you," said Gina. "I'd move to another country," said Heather. "You can go to jail for murdering someone's dog," said Judy. Clarence and Travis joined the group. "Hey, Marvin," asked Travis, "did you shoot Mrs. North's dog?" "Got him right in the liver," said Clarence. The rest of the day was just a blur to Marvin. He couldn't pay attention. He just kept thinking one thought. Mrs. North will be home tonight. Miss Hillway said goodbye to the class. Thank you. It was a most enjoyable week. You've been a wonderful class. She looked at Marvin. Of course, there are always a few exceptions. Mrs. North will get a full report. Do you want to come over to my house? Stuart asked as they walked out of class together. No, said Marvin. Now that Waldo was dead, Marvin's friends liked him again. Why not? Asked Nick. It's not like you have to go to Mrs. North's. I just want to be alone, said Marvin. Did the vet tell you what time Waldo died? Asked Stuart. No, said Marvin. You should ask him, said Stuart. They can figure those things out, because if Waldo died before midnight, then Mrs. North only has to pay you for 5 days, $15. But if he died after midnight, then she has to pay you for 6 days, $18. Stuart was good at math. I guess you don't get the $4 bonus, said Nick. Marvin walked home. Then he got on his bike and rode to Mrs. North's house for the last time. He still had to bring in her newspaper and mail. Her house felt empty, like a cave. He wrote her a note. Dear Mrs. North, if you are looking around for Waldo, don't. You won't find him. He's not in your house, and he's not outside. Well, he's dead. I hope you had a nice time on your trip. Yours truly, Marvin Redpost. He went home and waited for Mrs. North to call. Do you think I'll be expelled? He asked Jacob. I don't think she can do that, said Jacob. It's not like you did it on purpose. I just did what the doctor told me, said Marvin. But she'll still blame you, said Jacob. She might say she doesn't, but really she will. Every time she looks at you, every time she gives you a grade, she'll be thinking, Marvin Redpost. He's the boy who killed my dog. Jacob patted Marvin on the back. You'd be better off if you were expelled, he said. The phone rang. Marvin felt his heart jump. But it was just one of his mother's friends. He went to bed at 9 o'clock and lay awake for at least 2 hours. Mrs. North never called. 12. I'm sorry. Marvin tapped the red post for luck, then bravely walked to school. He entered his classroom. Mrs. North wasn't there. Have you talked to Mrs. North yet? Asked Casey. What are you going to say to her? Marvin shrugged. Man, I can't believe you're here, said Clarence. If I were you, I'd be in Mexico. No one got close to him, not even Nick or Stuart. No one wanted to be seen with him when Mrs. North walked in. The bell rang. Marvin kept his eyes on the door. She probably can't stop crying, said Melanie. That's why she's not here. Maybe she never came home, thought Marvin. That's why she never called. Maybe she had such a good time on her trip she decided to stay forever. Maybe she fell in love with someone, and she's sailing around the world with him. Mrs. North walked through the door. Good morning, everyone, she said. It's nice to see you again. She glanced at Marvin, then turned her head away. He looked down at his desk. He thought he saw a flash of hatred in her eyes. Well, let's see if anyone learned anything while I was gone, she said. This won't be graded. I just want to see how far you got. Gina. Mrs. North handed a stack of tests to Gina, and Gina passed them out. Marvin set right to work. He didn't dare take his eyes off the paper. Mrs. North was walking around the room. Marvin wasn't looking, but somehow he knew. She was coming toward him. He could feel it in his bones. The room got very quiet. She was getting closer. He tried to focus on his work. She was right beside him. He could see her shoes. He closed his eyes. Her cold hand touched the back of his neck. Come on, Marvin. We need to talk. He stood up. Every eye in the classroom watched as Mrs. North led him outside. There was dead silence. I'm sorry, said Mrs. North. You're sorry? Said Marvin. His legs were shaking. It was unfair of me to ask you to take care of such an old. She stopped. I just didn't want to put him in a kennel. You must have felt awful. The next thing Marvin knew, Mrs. North was hugging him. "The plane was very late," she said, still hugging him. "Otherwise, I would have called you last night. You probably thought I hated you." "Maybe a little," said Marvin. She let go of him. "I spoke to Dr. Charles this morning," she said. "He told me what you did. I'm so glad Waldo had someone like you." Marvin noticed her eyes were wet. "Liver was his favorite," said Mrs. North. "He died happy. She paid him the money she owed him. She gave him $25, as promised. "I'd like to do something special for you too," she said. "How about I take you out to lunch this weekend? You pick the restaurant." "Okay," said Marvin. She hugged him again. "He had a good life," she said. They walked back into the classroom. Everyone was watching and wondering. Marvin kept his head down. Let them wonder, he thought. He sat at his desk and returned to his test. Casey Happleton stared at him. Her ponytail stuck out of the side of her head. Her finger was in her mouth. "Wait, let me get this straight," Nick said at recess. "She's taking you out to lunch because her dog died." $25, said Stuart, and he only had to take care of the dog for 5 days instead of 7. "What restaurant are you going to choose?" asked Nick. Marvin shrugged. "Man, you're so lucky," said Nick. "It's unfair. Some people have all the luck,